Hello and welcome to another special edition of Model Collector Magazine's new releases video blog. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the latest Formula 1 2009 models from Minichamps. The first one that came into the office got us all quite excited at Racecar Engineering, which was this, the Brawn GP BGP 001 show car. But when we first started looking at it, it confused us because Brawn GP didn't have a show car when they launched their car. So what was this actually a model of? And we studied the photos and we studied everything we could find, and we could find no car that looked like this. And Graham, when we found these other two cars from Red Bull and Williams, we discovered something unusual, didn't we?
Well, we did, and I have to say one of the clues for me was the fact that this has got push rod rather than pull rod suspension, and we know that the Red Bull this year, the thing that's distinguished it is the fact that it's got pull rod. And then we began to look more closely, and of course what we ultimately discovered is that they are exactly the same model, exactly the same casting.
And this is the first time I remember this having happened from Minichamps. Normally, at the end of a season, they use the spare castings, put the next season's livery on, and they call that the presentation or the show car. It's just last year's car. But this year, the Formula 1 regulations are so different that the cars don't look anything like last year's cars. So what it appears Minichamps has done is take one casting, which we're not even sure which car it is of. I mean, we can't identify the casting at all, and put different teams' liveries on and call it that year's car, and these are retailing for around £35 in the shops.
The only thing I can notice the difference between the cars, other than their paint jobs, is the fact that the wheels are a little bit different. And that is about it. So I know we've often sort of worried on Racecar Engineering about the fact that F1 might be going down to a bit of a spec formula. Well, here we could all have the same car. If we did this, you could have a complete grid of the same cars. But
and if you had these on your shelf at home or in your model cabinet, it'd stick out like a sore thumb that you've got absolutely identical cars here, just lined up, and the side pods are the same, the front wings are the same, the rear wings are the same, and whilst the casting isn't a bad casting, it's exactly what you expect from Minichamps, but for £35 in August, you'd expect them to have a slightly more accurate model. The Williams, for example, I was at the launch of the real car in Portugal in January, and this car just doesn't look a single piece like that car that I saw in January, and it doesn't look anything like the car that's racing. So I don't know if Minichamps have looked and seen that maybe they think the fans aren't going to notice, but we noticed almost instantly, and I think it's, you know, knowing Minichamps' quality and history, it's really disappointing.
I am actually quite surprised because the past relationship that I've had with their products, and certainly they supplied to the Minardi team as well when I was there, they were always extremely professional, very good, and I'm just surprised they would go down this sort of route, because it just seems odd to try and pass off something which actually is not correct, it's not accurate. And I'm not quite sure what would be behind this. I'd note with interest as well that it's all three seem to be limited edition versions.
They're all limited to 1,008 pieces, but with 22 cars on the grid, that's 22,000 and lots of 8s added together as a limited edition. In my book, that's not very limited edition, and it's a well-used casting.
It's just very strange. I don't quite understand what's going on there, and as you said, I think any self-respecting Formula 1 fan is going to pick up on that fairly quickly. Certainly, if I saw those sitting together on the shelf in my favourite model shop, I think it would dawn on me fairly quickly that they were all the same.
However, I do think some of these models are going to sell, and maybe with the limited edition status they have of only 1,000 models out there, certain ones amongst them might become quite collectible, but I don't think it's going to be the obvious ones like the Brawns and the Red Bulls. It might be funny cars like the Force Indias and the McLaren, actually, not the Lewis Hamilton McLaren, the Heikki Kovalainen McLaren, which we've yet to see. These cars could be really quite collectible later on, but at the moment they're just genuinely disappointing.
Well, I must admit, I did wonder whether there might be some collector's curiosity in the fact that these are kind of not exactly accurate models, but other than that, I can't really see what the value would be. I'd rather wait and get an accurate model of the real thing. And
the real shame of it is you won't actually be able to get a full set, because the Ferrari will not be in the set, because that will be a Hot Wheels car.
Of course, yeah. So, bit of a disappointment, that, really.
We'll let you make your own mind up when you see it, and that's all for now.